Hey everyone, it's Two Noobs Talking coming at you once again, episode number 23, where just like Christian Cage at AEW, we're not superstars. We're just here to outwork everyone in the podcast land.
Yes, sir.
Bam! With John Tracy, I'm Matt Craig. John, the sun is out. The birds are tweeting. They're doing everything. It's spring. How you doing, man? What's going on?
Very well, except for the two doves this morning. They were overly talking. I love them, but they can, yeah, just
a little
overly
too
talking.
much.
It was too
much
early.
cooing there.
It was too early. Overly talking.
That's nice.
It was not.
Yeah,
It was too
exactly. It's
early.
two doves talking. Yeah. So.
I was actually gonna produce them in
Oh,
the two
really?
birds talking. Yeah, I was like, hey, why don't we do two doves talking?
Two doves
They
talking.
weren't interested, so
They weren't interested.
moving on.
Oh, that's great. So let's go right in to some good news right off the
Oh, yeah,
top.
absolutely.
Screenshot one for our listeners and, of course, our audio listeners. We've been following, of course, Pastor James Coates of Grace Life Church up in Edmonton, Alberta. About a few weeks ago, he was put in jail for holding indoor services in Edmonton. And John and I rightly nuked that entire government's way of thinking and basically breaking down the numbers and seeing that, oh, wait a minute, they've got a 99.9996% chance that you're going to survive COVID as opposed to dying from it. Well, the British Crown have decided to release or withdraw all charges against him. But his wife, Erin, that, as you can see, his family is on screen for our audio listeners. We'll link that article in the show notes. It's a great looking family. I follow Erin Coates on Instagram, John, and there is some caveats, I guess you could say, to this. I'll just read right from her post.
Oh, of course, we figured.
Hi, friends. So we weren't able to get the Friday hearing we hoped for. James' hearing is Monday. So this is Monday of this week. Her post was Thursday of last week.
Okay.
This breaks my heart as we've had to wait and be away from our family and Grace Light Church when he was so excited to potentially get out. And just further on, please remember that even his release is not set in stone. The article, which we just showed, stated they expect the release of James in the upcoming days. The judge has to agree to the terms of the deal, and I'm going to put that in quotes. That's not from Erin, that's from me. I don't know what terms of the deal mean. But the good news is that the Crown is withdrawing charges. John, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's just basically he'll get out eventually. Hopefully he'll get out and he'll sue. Because it's just ridiculous. Like he was trying to. It's religious persecution.
Yeah.
In reality, it like if we really want to there's funny. There's a lot of clips and a lot of things we've been reading throughout the week. Is I can see the news media really calling communism out everywhere in the United States, which is nuts. I never thought I would live in a time where communism would be a thing. But at least he's getting out. At least they're seeing the error of their ways, because communism has worked that way.
Oh, yeah.
He would never come out. So yeah. I don't necessarily believe we live under communism. What I was trying to say is it seems like a word that's being thrown out a lot. And he's coming home eventually.
Yeah.
So
and great on that. Absolutely. Yeah. I when that news came out, I think, and I found out through Erin Coates' Instagram page that he was coming out. I mean, my heart was just, oh my God, what a great story.
Yeah, we've been following him and his family for a while.
Yeah.
With this whole COVID craziness.
Yeah. It's so great to see the Crown actually say, you know what? Okay, this is kind of getting a little ridiculous that we've jailed this pastor that's holding these indoor services and really shepherding his flock like he's supposed to do. That is his job, is to shepherd people.
Absolutely.
And the fact that the Crown is basically just taking a look, they looked at the data and they're saying, like, you know what? I think it's time we ought to drop these charges, which is, I mean, good on them to do it. Good on them to do it. Absolutely. but staying with that, James Coates was actually a seminary student in the Master's Seminary in Los Angeles, California. Why do I say that? Well, John MacArthur, pastor of Grace Community Church, is the chancellor of the Master's University.
That'd be Matt's man. Like Matt loves this dude.
I
I do
yeah,
too.
to say that is an understatement, but yeah,
I think he's great.
he is amazing,
Mhm.
and just the absolute balls of this guy to basically stand up to Gavin Newsom, who we're going to talk a little bit later on in this
Oh yeah.
podcast,
Oh yeah.
probably within the next
We
10
got some
minutes.
Gavin news, definitely.
But I'm going to just go ahead and play this clip for you, John, and it's from YouTube. He was at Trinity Bible Church in Dallas, which is not far from you. I think it's a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours.
So I'll go ahead and just play this clip. He's just going to give an update on, where things kind of stand with Grace Community. So let me just go ahead and I'll play this clip.
This is the first place I've preached in the pandemic other than Grace Church. So I haven't preached anywhere but there for a year. So they're thrilled that you invited me to come because I'm beginning to feel like the poor. They always have me with them. So, and some of the guys who are great preachers of grace are thrilled that I'm gone so they get a shot at the pulpit. We have been threatened by the county, the city, the state of California endlessly for about a year. They have not been able to close us down at all. We're thankful for that. They have made all kinds of bizarre threats. They have threatened to lock down our parking lots. That didn't work. The latest threat was 2 weeks ago. They called and said they're going to put a homeless encampment in our parking lot. They're going to gather homeless from everywhere. This is actually true, and fill up our parking lot with homeless people to try to shut us down. My response was perfect. We'll have our seminary students evangelize them all day long. Maybe somebody got the word in the city because they pulled back from that. It's amazing. I think obviously none of us knows when this nonsense is going to end, but we may get to a point where this COVID lockdown begins to slow down to such a point that our case will never even be litigated. And that's our hope. So far we have managed to escape that. And by the way, we haven't paid a dime in legal fees, not 1 cent, because the Thomas More Society, which has funded the whole thing, the health department basically fines us every single week for meeting. And they can't get the money. It goes into an escrow account because they are not entitled to the money until they defeat us at the case of the First Amendment. So we haven't spent any money on anything. We haven't had an offering in a year, and the giving has exceeded any giving in any period of time in the history of our church. So it's just been really, really amazing. I say that because people have said the only reason we went back was to take offerings. Saw that on the internet. We haven't had an offering. It's going to be hard for us to start an offering once we get back to normal because people have found other ways to give.
John, Pastor MacArthur is 82 years old. We have a president who's 78, who's a doddering-old grandfather. John MacArthur is as sharp as anyone that I've ever met in his 80s. And to see him intelligently speak like this and continually to do so, and to defy his county government by remaining open and basically taking what they thought was going to be a negative thing and to flip it around to say, that's great, we're going to evangelize all the homeless in this parking lot. It's just the perfect Christian example of what to do. And you're on mute, bud.
Sorry. It's the same thing that we were talking about with this. We were put with a pandemic, and you know what we did? We started a podcast. Like
Exactly.
my life has not been any worse. It's been better because it's I've gathered more friends. I've gathered more like-minded friends. I've gathered more activities to do. I've found a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a negative thing. This is the problem with the world is we think negatively.
Yeah.
If we think positively, everything will be better. like our next thing that we have to talk about with Gavin Newsom being thrown out. That's the most positive thing I've heard in a really long time.
In a long, long time. Exactly. So why don't we go ahead and throw up? What do you want to do first? I mean, we got the clip or did we got the articles? So
Yeah, let's that. I want to listen to the guy that started this thing because he's hilarious.
let's do it. Because I think
Yeah.
this is so great in regards to really where the entire movement really began.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'll just go ahead and I'll throw this on up here.
Socialist Republic of California, the effort to recall Gavin Newsom is gaining major traction. The petition collecting more than 1.5 million signatures. Well, joining me now to discuss is the Recall Gavin 2020 spokesman Mike Netter and Mornings on the Mall with WMAL host Mary Walter. Mike, I want to go to you first. This petition is very close to triggering. Well, actually, you're at the recall election now. Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to be just another political flop? I noticed the GOP just threw in some money to it.
Well, it's not going to be a political flop. Let me say I'm a main proponent of it. And although we have 1.5 million signatures, they still have to go through a secondary validation process. Now we're validating it at 85% rate. Now we have a month to go. So the good news is we believe we're going to get a total of about 1.8 to 2 million signatures, which with our validation rate will get us the net figure that we need of about 1.5 million. But to say I'm optimistic would be an understatement.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely an understatement. I'm extremely optimistic about this.
Exactly. Yeah, and again, we've well documented Newsom's ridiculousness in terms of trying to curb this virus.
He's one of the Fab Five, as I like to call them. He's one of the Fab Five, and we'd like to talk about this. I'm gonna throw this up here because this is for anybody that doesn't know anything. Matt, please explain for the audio listeners.
Yeah, this is really good. You found this kind of, I like to say, an FAQ site, and we'll have this link in our show notes. It's from, and I'll have the actual date of
It's from the Mercury News.
Mercury News. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, this was an amazing FAQ talking about really the entire California recall election process. And so one of the big questions they've got on there is, quote, what would voters see on the ballot if the recall qualifies? And the answer is basically the state's voters will be asked two questions. First, do they want to vote yes or no on recalling Newsom? And if they do say yes, who should replace him? And there's a long list of people, apparently.
Yes, so they have a bunch of choices, which in reality, this is the reason we wanted to pull this out is because this is the same thing that we talk about with politics all the time. There's nothing new under the sun when it comes to politics. And this will be a cut because there's nothing new under the sun. Because Matt, what happened in 2003?
Yeah, 2003, Gray Davis was the governor of California, was not doing very well. I think it was also high property taxes or something like that within the entire state. People got fed up with it. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was elected governor after Gray Davis was recalled. And you remember what happened, John, in 2003. People were like, what the heck? The Terminator is the governor of California?
But he's a Kennedy, so everybody was okay.
There you go.
By marriage only.
Yeah, exactly. But it just goes to show you just what can happen in this great country of ours. It's just like a Terminator. The Terminator can be governor of the state of California. Like all of a sudden.
He started actually, because didn't Jesse Ventura run Minnesota shortly after?
Late 90s.
No, he was before. Okay.
Yeah, it was before. Yeah.
Well, good job, Jesse. But Jesse Ventura's never been second at anything he's ever done. Love that guy.
Exactly right.
Just to close this out so I can get rid of this stupid screen of a Q&A that nobody wants to watch on our podcast. The other thing is that the question was asked, can Newsom enter his own name in the running as a backup plan so he can keep it? And that the answer is actually no, because he's banned from doing it under state law, which is awesome. Means, election laws actually work in some states.
Yeah, exactly. Which can also
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. Which also explains the nervousness that he's
Mhm.
been feeling in the last few days because he knows this entire
It's
movement has been
happening.
gathering steam.
It's
He's
happening.
got a year-long track record of double masking, indoor masks in
Your
the
your
restaurants.
favorite one is sit down in a restaurant with a mask, take it off, move
Pull
it
it
so
down,
you can
eat,
eat, and
put it
then
back
while
on.
you're chewing, put it back on. That's your.
And
I
as
think
I
that's your
mentioned last
favorite one.
week,
That's your
there's
favorite
no
one.
scientific explanation for that. There's none of that. There's nothing that could say.
Oh, didn't you know that COVID is waiting above your head?
Who knows? Maybe it might be like
Hey,
over
as soon as you take
there
your mask
somewhere.
off, it's just gonna jump out of somewhere. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like they've taken it. So we've seen this Northern California. We saw that gentleman that he owned a rodeo ranch. I don't think I ever shared it with you. I think I shared it on Facebook though. He stood in front of his local government and was like, "This is getting ridiculous." This was 7 months ago. He was saying it's getting ridiculous. Now at this point, it's ridiculous.
It is. Yeah.
Like I get it why Florida's open. I get why Texas is open. I get why Mississippi's open. I get why Louisiana is opening. And a million, I think Kentucky's starting to open. There's a bunch of them. I think 11 or 12 states are fully open. Some that didn't even close.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, Pennsylvania is getting back from what I hear from my friends, and it's getting back to normal.
Slowly. Yeah. Yeah, slowly. There's still outdoor. I mean, you could still eat outside and whatnot. It's kind of like, what it was like during the summer months. That's kind of where I would land where everything is right now,
Okay.
John.
Okay. We're fully like Texas, as you know, we're fully open. Masks are still required to go into certain stores. They're
Mhm.
not in other stores.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's not required outside, which it should never been required.
Yeah, it
outside,
should.
because
Yeah.
outside's like the only place where if you're going for a walk by yourself, you probably don't need a mask.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah,
Not
exactly.
there.
Just FYI. Don't need a mask when you walk around outside.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just goes to show you too. And I think I'm going to throw this up, John, because I think this is probably the single best tweet I've seen this year. And maybe even this decade.
No, I totally agree, because especially now with the caseload just dropping
being like crazy
at like 75%.
Yeah. No,
Like
I mean,
dropping.
for our audio listeners, look at that. This is Ben Watson, who was former tight end in the NFL, played for the Patriots, I think also for a few other teams, the Saints.
Yep. And he's he's running for government too, right?
I think so. He's definitely been involved in the pro-life movement, all that kind of stuff. But people have been asking him, please run as president. Please do this. Please do that. This guy is really well spoken, obviously.
He's very smart. I remember him when he was playing. He was really smart.
One of the more likable guys that you would ever meet. Has a great family. His tweet right here, quote, "After a year, I'm still dismayed by the lack of clarity surrounding COVID. Lives and livelihoods have been lost. And how much was a result of pandemic versus politics?"
That's a huge question.
It's a huge question.
It's a really huge question, because where does that line go? I understand there was a pandemic, and I'm fully aware that there was a pandemic, and I'm fully okay with helping people through a pandemic. But how much politics played in the pandemic? That's a question that I would love Gavin Newsom to answer.
Absolutely.
Or Governor Wolf. Or Whitmer or Murphy.
Yeah.
Or our favorite 8th accusing 15,000 killing Cuomo.
Exactly.
I'd love these people to stand up and have a press conference and explain where was the politics, where was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Explain it.
Please. Yes. I think it's so well stated, John. Thank you. That's just unbelievably well put. And then, but Ben Watson continues with his tweet: "Public health should never be manipulated for private gain." Amen to that.
Yeah,
our lives, and just to finish, our lives shouldn't be at the mercy of a red or blue agenda. Again, amen to that. That was, like I said, that was probably the single best tweet I ever heard, and it perfectly encapsulated my entire thoughts on this entire pandemic from start to finish, John.
I agreed. And it runs us right into Fauci getting taken to task by my man, Rand Paul. You can hate him all you want.
Yeah.
You can hate Rand Paul.
And I
all you
don't
want,
like
and-
I don't like Rand Paul anymore
Exactly.
than
I will cut this video because you can hate him all you want because I don't like him at sometimes.
yeah.
Senator Ted Cruz doesn't like him at sometimes. He's an extremist in so many ways,
Oh yeah.
but I love him because he never disappoints.
Yeah.
And he took
Took that
old-
quack to
old
task.
wrinkle face, double mask troll of a man, head of nothing.
Took
his own
him to
agenda.
task. Absolutely. Took him right to task. Basically saying, you've been vaccinated, Dr. Fauci. Why do you continue to wear these masks when you've been vaccinated? Which to me, now, John,
That's like the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
right?
Get vaccinated and put a mask on. That's like the stupidest thing ever.
To me, that's
why are we vaccinating? We were wearing masks because we didn't have the vaccine. Now
yeah.
we have the vaccine. Why are we taking the
We're
vaccine?
going to throw the
Put
mask back on. And
Make-
especially double, because you know what? I think, to be honest with you, we really need maybe 5 shots with Dr. Quack should solve it. And if that doesn't solve it, maybe he can wear 10 masks. And until then, maybe he ups the ante and gets 15 shots. When does the insanity end, Dr. Quack? When does it end? You know, and maybe what we ought to do is wear 10 masks so that when you have to speak, people don't understand a lick of what you're saying. Because to be quite honest, it would do us all a huge favor if you masked up and you wore about 15 or 20 of them. And I'm being dead serious because this guy is an absolute, only a quack would prescribe you to take a vaccine and throw 2 masks on your face. That guy's a quack, John.
It doesn't make any sense. It absolutely.
No.
I'm gonna try to be the leveler head here. Hard for me to do.
Wait a minute, what's going on here? I don't know.
No, exactly. It's a bizarro world here.
Exactly.
He's never made any sense. We've made fun of him so much. He's oh my god.
Yeah.
He just you don't. I mean,
Don't
you
even know what to
just
say with it
don't-
anymore.
You don't take the vaccine and then put masks back on.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical.
Rand Paul made that
Because
great point.
why would you take the vaccine? We're taking
Exactly.
the vaccine. I'm saying this as America and the world. We're taking the
Mhm.
vaccine so we can take the masks off, so we can go back to
Back
the
to
bars and
normal.
hang out. We're trying to, humanity is happening.
Yeah.
The vaccine is so we can go back to humanity.
Mhm.
The fact that this dude even speaks out loud pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like
He
the
can't-
out loudness, like the fact he's doing it in front of a microphone makes me angry. You can't. Like,
Yeah, you
it's
can't,
not
yeah.
logical.
No.
It's not logical. So you're gonna take a day. Here's what he's imposing. Just let me get real.
Go for
So
it.
someone has to take a day off of work and lose 8 hours.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Which they still have to pay bills because it's a pandemic and they're just getting back to work.
Yeah.
So they have to take a day off to go get a vaccine.
Mhm.
That what does it change? Nothing.
Nothing.
So why are they losing? Do you want them to lose more money?
Yeah,
You shut
exactly.
everybody down. Now they're coming back. Now you're trying to shut them down again. It makes no
It
sense.
just doesn't make any sense. No, of course not. Why would it? Why would it with him? Like I said, only a quack would prescribe you to
Yeah,
take something.
And only a president like Joe Biden would put him in charge.
Exactly. Exactly.
And also a shot on Trump. I don't even know why Trump even brought him even close to that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Trump's got to take one on the lip for that too.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
why would anybody that's logical put this dude in charge of anything?
You know, it also says something too. Dr. Deborah Birx was also part of that coronavirus task force, right? At the beginning part.
Yeah, and they got rid of
She did
her.
a great
She
job.
makes sense.
Right. She did a great job. And then all of a sudden, her family, she got caught. And I hate to use that phrase, got caught, but she did.
She did.
Being out with her family without a mask on. But she did the honorable thing and she stepped away.
Mhm.
She stepped away from that post because her health of her family mattered more than a governmental position.
Yeah. And
That is the definition of integrity. Yes,
Yes,
what she did
absolutely.
was wrong by the current prescription. What they were all prescribing us to do it was wrong for her
Yeah,
to.
you don't tell millions of people to do something and do something different. Which
But
it is
good
yeah.
on her to do what she did and say, you know what, family means more right now than the position.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Other than
Brief.
other than
Okay.
other than just calming down and just putting the wax to people, let's just talk about Cuomo for like 3 seconds. So now his advisor, which is the eighth accuser, says that he's a scumbag.
So
I
we're
already knew
over.
it.
We're over now. The number of accusers.
Yes,
Accusers, right?
and
Okay.
and behind Matt, you would have seen, because he didn't have an accuser for 7 days. I was going to put up like that Wawa thing without incident. I was going to put without accusation, but he screwed it up because right before we're about to do a podcast, he gets another accusation. I'm like, well, that doesn't fly. That's not comedy anymore. Thanks, Cuomo. You're screwing my stuff up now.
Exactly. Oh gosh.
And just to make everybody aware, I just read a great article. I'll try to find it. I don't know if I can put it in the show notes. Maybe we'll cover it later when he's down to no viewers. But I just read this great article from some independent newspaper. Chris Cuomo's CNN show took like a 75% dive in ratings over the last 3 weeks. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Oh, exactly.
It literally could not happen to a nicer guy. Just failure. I love it. And
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to fail, but if there's one person that I want to fail,
This
it's
guy you
that
want to
guy.
fail.
Yeah, I hope
100,
your show
yeah.
gets canceled. I hope CNN, the worst network in the world, cancels your show because you're not good enough for CNN.
Because that says
That's how I
a
feel
lot.
about this family.
Exactly. That would say an awful lot that the worst news provider in the world
Yes.
says you're not good enough to be on our network.
I hope that happens. I do. I hate Chris Cuomo that much.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty bad. He is pretty bad, and that's an understatement for sure. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. The fact that I would love to know like the actual like viewership numbers. The fact that it's reduced by, what did you say, John? Like 75%?
75%. It's like ridiculous.
I mean, see, that doesn't have much of an audience anyway to begin with. But it's like, if you stop to think about that, like,
Yeah,
God,
he's losing.
he's
Yeah,
a primetime guy,
well,
isn't he?
Lemon's losing it too.
Oh, yeah.
Badly.
Yeah, it's amazing too, because it's like I made the, kind of an offhanded joke last week, right? Where it's like, you would think they would want Trump in charge for another 4 years because the ratings would be up. But no, it's not. I mean, it's like they're going in the opposite direction. It's like, what's going on there? What's happening here?
Yeah, it's
Oh my gosh.
It's bizarre. That was actually really funny. That shows you how much the social media has taken over. We just mentioned an article of the Mercury News. What do you think popped up on my computer while we were talking? A new article for the Mercury News.
Mercury News.
Just throwing that out there.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Well, let's
how they listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on.
Let's move on and let's talk some Captain America, shall we? And by Captain America, I'm referring to the National Guard.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They have done.
I'm confused because we got a bunch of Captain America.
I was just going to say, yeah. By the way, I did tell.
I was a little deer in headlights there for a minute.
I was just going, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Oh my God, I thought Matt went rogue.
But here we got the Pennsylvania National Guard. Some really good news. We had Texas, of course, the National Guard helping out on the border down there.
Yep. 500 good men went down to solve some situations.
Absolutely. And here we've got the PA National Guard supporting a vaccination center in the city of Philadelphia. And these people are just
it's good. Like, Matt, your dad was an adjutant general, National Guard. He served fully and awesomely.
Thank you.
Probably even beyond most people. I don't think there's going to be an adjutant general that could even get to the level that your dad did. He did such great things.
Yeah.
Just so you know, like, this is very close to our heart.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just scroll down here with this article. Again, we'll link this to our show notes, but again, for the benefit of our audio listeners here, quote, more than 40 Pennsylvania National Guard members are supporting a mass vaccination center in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they're supporting the state-run, federally supported Center City Community Vaccination Center at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. Normally, when it has the auto show, flower show, they're holding it right in there.
Good.
And of course, it's a partnership with FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, City of Philadelphia, Commonwealth of PA. But the National Guard, they're going in there and they are mass vaccinating. If you think about that, 40 soldiers are in there day in, day out, vaccinating people that live in that city, over 1 million people. I mean, that it's just amazing. And then, of course, like from Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Hensley, commanding officer of the PA National Guard Detachment in Philadelphia, quote, "This is a joint mission to help vaccinate Pennsylvania. Who better to do it than the joint force, including the PA National Guard?" Amen to that, Colonel Hensley. That is
Absolutely.
awesome.
And that goes back to our interview we had with your father talking about the Operation Warp Speed and where he saw the National Guard, where they went, because he probably has the same brain as the people that are in charge. They knew that's where it was going to go. And it's same thing he was explaining to us back then before we even had vaccines.
Yeah.
Like, Operation Warp Speed is a great, place for the National Guard to work out. And it's just, anybody that serves has my utmost respect.
Yeah.
Always, forever. My cousin was an airman for 26 years, retired before he passed away. I have not, my dad was drafted for Vietnam, just like your father. And that's where his career started.
Yep.
My uncle was in the Navy. My grandfather on my dad's side fought in 2 wars. My grandfather on my mother's side was in the Navy. Like, it goes on. My
Great
uncle, my mom's uncle, he was also in the Navy. Like, I have a large military family.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you just can't thank them enough. I live right near San Antonio that has two bases. I see military people all the time. And there's nothing more than anything that you can do, a thank you, or, I work with a veteran. I work with a Persian Gulf veteran every day.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do but more thank them for their service and what to get to where we are. And to get to where we're going, we need them all the time. That's why it makes me so angry when they were used and abused in the Capitol. That's why I was so angry about it, because we're not going anywhere without them.
Absolutely.
They lead us everywhere we go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially when it comes to national emergencies like this, they are willing to put their lives on the line. They are the ultimate first responders to any sort of catastrophe that may happen. They are there to help in any form, whether it's vaccinations, whether it's, saving people from homes that are being flooded or on fire or whatever the case may be, or,
whatever
quell riots.
Whatever catastrophic environment that you could create, they're prepared for it.
They're right there. They're trained.
It's just great.
And this is the thing too, that, and my dad referred to this in our podcast, episode 9, by the way, if you ever wanted to check that out again. The fact that, let's just say 40 years ago, they were pretty much down here. They weren't even close to where they were supposed to be in terms of their equipment, in terms of their training and all of that kind of stuff. And from where they were 40 years ago to now, where they are vaccinating people and they're going and doing multiple tours overseas and all this other stuff, they truly are the Captain Americas of our generation, John. I mean, that's exactly what they are. And they are willing to do it. They are willing to go out there and put their lives on the line for us so that we can get back to normal. We can get back to like what we love to do. And that's to serve others.
I'd love to see, there's so many National Guard stories, especially, this one and the Texas one where they went down, where Governor Abbott was just like, I know what can solve it. I'm just sending 500 guys down there, and they'll make sure everybody's got what they needed.
Oh yeah. And I will say this too, like my brother-in-law just had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine just this last week, and where he went to get vaccinated, it was run by the PA National Guard.
Nice.
And just so everybody knows in our audience, he was given a card where it was like, you're going to get shot at 426, right? 4:26 in the afternoon. So he goes up, he gets the shot. When did it happen? 4:26.
Yeah. 'Cause,
So on time.
yeah, they don't
No
lie.
horsing around. None of this. Oh, I got to double check over here and make sure you're over there and all that kind
No,
of
they
stuff.
checked you. They checked you in. They go for it. I love
Boom.
the military.
In and out.
The military just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
to
they're
be
great.
protected by the military and to be able to live a free life and live by the Constitution and the military. It makes me smile every day. Like when I see a military person. And this isn't fluff or bullshit. Like I literally love the military.
Yeah.
I literally love them. They you can ask anybody.
Hmm.
Anybody that's in the military, just walk up and ask them and be like, why do you do this? For you, to be free.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
everyone that I talk to, same thing. They don't regret doing it. They are forever
Mhm.
giving themselves to service
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't even know you and they're doing it for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And like I mentioned before too, in previous podcasts, John, it's like you go out of your way. If you ever see somebody in uniform, just say thank you for your service. That's all they want to hear.
Yeah.
That.
And if you can afford it, pay for a meal.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you see them like
pay
in a
it
restaurant or
forward.
something,
Yeah.
do it. Yeah. Do it. And just say, yeah, I can't even begin to tell you the number of, not to say it selfishly, but being with the family, of course, like dad in uniform, there would be a time where someone would buy my dad like a free, slice of pie on them.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So
because he deserved it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go out of your way. Go out of your way and thank people, especially that put on the uniform, and represent the country like this. I mean,
show love.
Can't ask for anything better than that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of
uniforms and
Captain
America's.
Love it.
Happy segment.
Love it. 91-year-old police officer has no plans to retire. Camden, Arkansas. John, why don't you go ahead and read this for our audio listeners?
Jeez. Okay. This is LC Buckshot Smith.
Love that.
He's the oldest officer. I love his name. I love finding these things for Matt.
Yeah.
I only do it for Matt. I read these things all the time. So this one, I was like, totally Matt would love this one.
Yeah.
He said he moves a little slower, but hey, 91, he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
After 46 years as a deputy, he retired, and 5 months later, he was kind of bored. He went back to work, and this is the greatest quote: "I don't hunt, I don't fish." I love this guy just from this article.
That's amazing.
So this is our man right here. This is LC Buckshot Smith.
Love it.
Great name, dude. It's such an alias.
Yeah.
I wonder what his real name is. Take it over.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, just basically his mayor, Smith, basically in the article says this. Mayor Julian Lott says Smith has a more powerful weapon. This is Mayor Lott quote, he knows your mama and he knew your grandmother. So he has the authority to speak into our lives. How about that?
Yes,
quote. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And over the course of his career, Smith said that he has, quote, taken more people home than he's taking them to jail, end quote.
It's so true. It's so true. And if you were to eliminate the media, you would learn that.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, cops aren't bad.
No.
Most of the time. Because they don't want to do it. And he's a prime example. And it's such a great story to come out. I love him to death. And
I love this.
Just to finish with him is his lieutenant. He's going to retire when God tells him to.
Yeah. His
and
chief
you know what?
basically says, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Chief Boyd Woody, quote, he does not want to retire. In his words to me, he'll retire when the good Lord tells him to, end quote.
Yes, sir. And you've earned that.
Absolutely. And it's like what you just said, John, in regards to like, I love that quote too, taking more people home than to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, here's an officer, right, where he's 91 and he's there caring for his people, for his townsfolk in Camden, Arkansas.
It just didn't start when he was 91.
Yeah.
It started when he started.
Absolutely.
He brought humanity to the shield. And I know a lot of in the military and in police department,
Mhm.
even fire, anybody, first responders,
Yeah.
always bring that. And
Yeah.
that's what the media doesn't put out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always the negative with the media, and that's a problem
Mhm.
because of stories like this. There's 100 LC Bucksmiths in this country that are doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
and that's, they need to be promoted,
Absolutely.
not this
Yeah.
garbage, not these idiots that are undertrained and underfunded, and they make bad decisions. And
And not to paint cops in a broad brush, like,
no, there's no
this
need to paint them, because there's more LC Smiths than
buckshot
there
Smiths out
are.
there.
There's
Absolutely.
way more of that than there
Mhm.
are whomever that guy, whomever we want to paint in a corner
Yeah.
that made a bad decision, is a terrible person. There's so many less of them in this world. I firmly believe that.
I agree. I totally agree with you. And they're not going to be superheroes or anything of that sort. But what are they doing? They're doing their job each and every single day,
It's
taking people home as opposed to putting them in jail. I mean, that's the best thing about that whole quote, which I love, because it's like that to me says like he's caring for his people. Is he making arrests? Yeah, probably. Only when it's warranted. That's the thing. It's like it's not. He's not just arresting people just for the sake of arresting people. This guy is going
no,
out there.
he's not his ego. He's doing it. So let's talk about another Superman that does it a little mentally. He's one of my favorite people, actually.
And probably like if we were involved in a company together, John, let's get this guy as CEO, because this guy, David Portnoy.
I love him to death. He takes up so much of my time.
Oh,
I
my
love
gosh.
him to death. I think he's awesome. I also have an affection for people from Massachusetts. So it is what it is.
Headline. Let's go back up there, John, if you would,
Mhm.
real quick. Headline: David Portnoy's review helps New Jersey pizzerias orders explode. Gabriella Otiano. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name there.
I think you got it right.
Calabria restaurant and pizzeria owner says Portnoy changed her life.
When I saw this article, not this article, but I saw it. I saw the news article. Here's their.
Yeah, it's a tweet from Gabriella that basically says, "Thank you, Dave Portnoy, for coming by. It was a dream come true." And it was basically Dave Portnoy's 1,000th pizza review on
Yep.
Barstool Sports,
Which,
talking about this pizzeria.
If you haven't checked that out, you should probably just get into that.
Yeah.
It's some of the most entertaining stuff. He's just entertaining.
Yeah.
He's clearly entertaining. And I was saying to Matt right before we came on, if you like Trump, totally check out the interview that he did with Trump when Trump was president. You will see a side of Trump and you'll see a side of Portnoy that you've never seen before. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant cinematography. It totally is.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, Atiano basically told Fox Business earlier this week that she is getting customers as far away as California and India. John.
They were not doing well for the pandemic. And I mean, obviously, and Portnoy does not give scores just to give scores.
Yeah.
He judges everything fairly, I believe.
Yeah. Portnoy said a good score from him means something because he sometimes gives bad ones. And then the quote from him on the article, I'll just read it right here. If I give a big score, it changes how that pizza shop operates to the point where some locals sometimes get mad because there's little hidden gems that you can no longer just waltz in.
It's so true. It's totally a Guy Fieri complex in a way, because when Guy Fieri does we need more of that in the world.
Yeah.
Like we really do, because the people that own these places deserve.
Oh, yeah.
They totally deserve.
Yeah.
To get the money that the big restaurants are getting. And then he's such a proponent for restaurants. His Barstool Fund, Aaron Rodgers committed millions to it.
Yeah.
The University of Penn committed millions to it.
Mm-hmm.
Check him out. He's doing, I'm sure everybody who watches this knows who he is, but he's definitely, you got to check him out. He's a saint for what he's doing. Like,
I don't think there's any better adjective you just gave, John. I mean, the guy just goes in there, changes everyone's, like, if they give out a good pizza and he scores high, he's got a great platform to be on.
Exactly.
And
And Barstool Sports,
especially during this pandemic, it's like, small businesses were killed. Obviously, were killed during this. People weren't going out, whatever the case may be. But this guy, what's he doing? He's coming back and he's helping small business come back in our country.
yeah.
And great
Oh,
on him to do it.
the Barstool Fund is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me, I need some water so I don't choke like last episode. Inside joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. Go ahead, John. What were you going to say on that?
I just his Barstool Fund. Check it out if you can donate. Please donate. It's amazing. He is saving restaurants. His pizza review is always on point. Trust me, he does not just give good reviews. Like, he gives perfect reviews.
Yeah.
And giving that one saved their business, which is brilliant. I follow him. If you're a gambler, follow him, because he's opening up sports books all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny. He opened Chicago and took a huge L.
Oh, really?
He lost a ton of money
Oh,
in Chicago. The thing I like about him, and like all encompassing, like,
mm-hmm.
I'm willing to be an ass in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he's similar. He's awesome because he's real. He's real. He's the same thing we talk about Herschel Walker and talk about Ben Watson. We talk about people running Sanders Huckabee in Arkansas. She's running for mayor or governor.
Okay.
I think she's running for governor. She's as real as the day goes long. Like,
the former White House
press secretary of Trump. She's running for governor.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's right. I think it's like I love
putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a beautiful thing.
I love Portnoy's review of the Lunchables pizza.
Oh God, it was the kid show thing. We'll never play it, but oh God, it was in our household one of the funniest things we ever heard.
You sent that to me, and I was dying for at least a couple.
It was so good.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
He's so on point.
Yeah,
love his brand, love everything that he does. I just have nothing to like. I have nothing negative to say about
this guy. Exactly.
Really don't.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So that does it, man. Episode 23, John, of Two Noobs Talking. As always, man, it's great to do this with you. And let's do some shameless plug action.
Absolutely. So we'll just do socials. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Clapper, and Instagram. That's where we post minute videos of our podcast, so you can kind of check out what we're talking about before you check out our episode, which is good. We found that's a little bit better than having like an interactive. So you'll get our best cuts over the course of the week. So that's our socials. Matt, what do we do for video?
Yeah, for video, we've got YouTube and Rumble. On YouTube, we would really love it if you like our videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel. We bumped it up to 11, John. We're getting close to that 20 mark. Let's go.
If you can get us beyond where we think we could go, that would be really helpful. Just YouTube, focusing on YouTube. We are on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, please check us out there. But definitely YouTube, we're focusing on. Please like, subscribe, and share
and subscribe. Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Also,
we're also the audio side. Yeah, go ahead.
We are all over audio. We are on Apple, Google, iHeartRadio. We are on Spotify. I hate Spotify, but we're still on Spotify. Spotify sucks. We're on two things that I just learned today that someone downloaded us on. I don't even remember the name, but there are two. Anywhere you can find us audio, just search Two Noobs Talking 215-512.
Great. And then, of course, our show notes, as we've mentioned before in the podcast. Love holding it up. It's right here. But the actual copy, TwoNoobsTalking.wordpress.com. And again, you can just go right there on the link on our bottom screen there. Check it out. We have all the links, all the articles we've shared, all the video clips we've shared. We've got it all right there.
Absolutely. And if you put your email address into the subscribe, it will send it to your email, so you don't even have to waste the time going there.
Beautiful.
It will email you. It's a beautiful thing. Also, Discord, it will be in the show notes. We're trying to grow that. We're actually doing a thing, Two Noobs Radio, that'll probably pop off. It'll be Matt produced, but John host it. Be a little more sports thing that's
There you
coming
go.
down the line. And me and Matt will talk about it a little bit more. So
Absolutely.
Discord will be a thing. So we're just trying to keep that out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, episode 23, Two Noobs Talking. John, anything final to say, man?
Matt, don't go down the rabbit hole.
Take care. Have a great week. Talk to you all next week.